Remember these?
Yep.
Got fond memories of these. Just a couple weeks ago, we were at a youth camp, and they had this survival challenge where they had all types of different challenges that everyone had to participate in, including carrying this big log 100 yards, as well as swimming across a lake and starting a fire from scratch. But also they had a food challenge where we had to eat various items. And one of those items that were in that challenge was these. What are these?
Crickets.
And they're not just any types of crickets. They're actually, what flavored, Sayla?
Chocolate and coffee.
A lot of people weren't looking forward to this challenge, especially when the crickets were put out on the table for them. But you actually did a really good job, didn't you? They weren't that bad, are they?
No.
And I kind of liked them too. I was looking forward. I'd always wanted to try crickets and locusts and grasshoppers, and I was like, let's try them. Let's try them. And they're actually not bad. I liked them so much, they said, we'll send you some more. And they sent us all these for you guys to try. You ready to try it?
I'm as excited about this as you are.
All right, let's see how you like them.
I don't know if I'm gonna eat them.
You're afraid to eat them? Look at there. Look at all those yummies. Try it out, Micah. Come on. You're a tough guy, aren't you? There, he's a tough guy. That's a boy.
What you think?
Tastes like cereal.
I actually think the same thing, Mike. It kind of tastes like cereal. So you need some milk with those crickets?
Yep.
All right, are you going to try one? Come on. You can do it. Come on. Need me to blindfold you?
I don't give in to peer pressure very well, just to let you know. I'm my
Don't
own
eat
person.
anymore. Don't eat anymore. There's a bug in it.
There are
There's
a
lots
bunch
of bugs in
there.
here. You are correct.
Can't get enough? You got some more there? So you gonna try them yet?
I don't think so.
All right.
I prefer beef.
I prefer beef too, and chicken, and turkey, and lamb, and duck, and a whole bunch of other animals. But I have been wanting to try locusts and grasshoppers and crickets. The insects that the Bible talks about that has jointed legs that leap. All those I've been wanting to try. All the other ones, worms and ants and all those other things. Nope, not wanting to eat any of those. Don't plan to, never. So, and I'm also not buying into any of the anti-meat agenda, fake meat and all whatever ways that they're trying to make meat. But I have been wanting to try these, so we got these crickets for you guys to try. So, I guess I can't make you eat it, especially since you're pregnant. Won't do
They
that.
don't really smell good, and you know, a pregnant lady and her nose knows best. So, ain't happening.
Well, you want to try some again?
No,
Why?
because they're terrible.
How do you know they're terrible?
Because I had them at camp and I did not like them.
Yeah, I won't make you eat them either. Again. A lot of people couldn't hold them down. Josiah did. Appreciate you hanging in there for your team. I bet your team appreciated that too. Actually, I was on your team. But I would suggest if you're going to start with something like this. They're flavored, already prepped, and cooked for you. So, not that bad.
You know what? I bet the chickens would absolutely love these things.
Let's see. Chick, 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 chick. Chick, 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 chick. Kind of fun to feed it to him. You want to feed him some? There you go. Whoa, raining crickets. Whoa.
You know what? I bet this is their first time ever having coffee and chocolate flavored crickets.
Probably so. Well, that's it for now. I would like to figure out a way to harvest these from around here to feed to them. And for myself, I really like to figure out how to harvest some grasshoppers around here and have them from scratch. And speaking of harvesting things and catching things, let me show you this. Recently, I got another package in the mail. This one too was insect related. However, it wasn't insects that I could actually eat, but a method for catching them. It was a fly fixed fly trap. So I opened it up and set it up. However, like a mail, I didn't read the instructions. So I set this one up right here, and it's a little bit too high. Let's see, what do we have in here? We have a couple flies, wasp, a hornet, and an ant. Maybe some uncles in there too.
The dad jokes abound with this one.
This one. So we set it up higher than the instructions say. So as you can see, I didn't catch much. But I have another trap. Let me show you that one. All right. It's right here. Check this out. I set this trap up right here on an old tripod, about a little over a foot off the ground, and look at all the flies that we caught in here. Check this out, guys. This is crazy. Look at all that. Wow. And when I was first reading about this fly trap and looking at it and see how it worked, I was like, can that possibly work? But what happens is the flies come down here on the food, they eat what they need to eat, and then they get full, and their instinct is to fly up. And they fly up, get caught in there, and don't know how to get out. What do you think of all those flies? You like that? It's pretty crazy.
Well, it's pretty gross. But I'm glad they're in here and not in my house.
Yep. Man, imagine all these flying around, but they're not flying around now, they're right in here. Wow, that is so much. I think it's better to catch them outside than to catch them inside.
I'm so glad that those guys are out here and not in my house. I've used the fly strips before and they work, but I can't stand flies in my house and it's disgusting. It's just part of living on a farm, but yeah, so glad they're out here and not in there.
We've only had this set up like over the weekend, and this is how many we've caught so far. So I'm gonna leave it up here just a little bit longer to see how many more flies that we can catch. So, the fly trap that I had hanging up in a tree, well, I moved it down to the recommended height in a different location. And for bait, I used some leftover chicken remains from when we butchered chickens. And for a day or so now, both traps have been set up, hopefully capturing more flies. Let's go see what they have. Wow, in just a day, we've caught all these flies. And one of the things that I've noticed is, since trapping the flies, I haven't really noticed any flies near or inside our house. And anyone who homesteads knows that flies are something that we have to deal with on a regular basis. I say homestead, it's also anybody with having kids, because coming inside, in and out of the house, flies tend to make their way with kids doing those things. And flies can be stressful for your animals as well as to us. Your animals can be stressed out having to constantly wave and flap their ears and tails and try to get them off of them. And for us, just sitting inside your house and you have flies that's annoying you and you're like swatting away and using the fly swatter and doing ninja moves to kind of get rid of them. And sometimes I'll even try to test my own reflexes and speed and try to be like Mr. Miyagi or something to see if I can catch him. And sometimes I can do it, believe it or not. But in addition to being annoying, they can also transmit sicknesses and things like that. Things that you definitely don't want. But believe it or not, flies do serve a purpose. They're actually good for, they're scavengers. They're good for helping to consume rotting organic matter, which is basically what they're doing and what they're attracted to as the bait for these traps. That's still crazy to see all of them in there in just a day. Yeah, buddy. All right, so now let's go see what we caught in our other trap. It was already doing well, but let's see where it's at now. Man, look at all those flies. How they just piled up. Wow. Pretty crazy. And even have a couple yellow jackets in there. One of the things that I've noticed with bait, if you use things like fruit, you're more likely to attract the stinging insects like yellow jackets and wasps. But if you stick to some of the other things like old rotting meat and things like that, it attracts more of the flies. And as you can see, we got a pile of them in there. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. I think I'm going to probably just compost them, because some sources say that if you do something like feed them to your chickens, that it can give them tapeworm, and tapeworm will hinder them from absorbing nutrients in their food and can just slowly make them sick and not be good for them. So I don't think I'm going to feed them to my chickens, but I definitely will compost them. But the biggest thing is that these won't be bothering us anymore. We don't have to worry about any of these being inside our house. So we'll just leave it up a little bit longer and see if we can catch any more before I turn them into compost. But a couple of key things that I have learned with using the trap is, one, make sure you set them up outside, of course, but when you're setting them up outside, make sure you only set them up about a foot or two off the ground. And you can see doing that works really well. But when I had the other trap set up higher in the tree, I really wasn't catching anything at all. Lowered it and it worked out great. Also, you want to make sure that you're using a bait that stays moist. The rotting meat works really, really well, but you can also use something like wet cat food or something like that. And another thing I forgot to mention is I really like these traps because they're non-toxic. There's no chemicals at all. It's just a netting, a little bowl, and some metal to catch the flies in. So using them in the compost, I don't have to be concerned at all about any toxic chemicals going into the compost when I do compost these things. And if you want one of these fly fix fly traps, make sure you check out the link in the show notes below, because this is something I'm definitely going to be using on a regular basis here on the homestead.